Lord be with you and also with you. Let's sing our first song. Oh God, we adore you. Lay our lives before you. How we love you. Jesus, we adore you. Lay our lives before you. How we love you. Spirit, we adore you. Lay our lives before you. How we love you. Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am God. When we hear those words, we know it's time for one of God's stories. So get yourself ready to hear the story of Jonah, the wayward prophet. Now the word of the Lord came to Jonah. Arise, go to Nineveh, that great city, and tell the people there that they are very bad and that they need to change and become good. Now prophets are people who come so close to God, and God comes so close to them that they know what God is telling them to do, and then they do it. Well, Jonah turned and found a ship heading to Tarshish in Spain. It was about as far away from Nineveh as you could go. Suddenly, a great storm broke out. The sailors were afraid, so each one prayed to his own God. And then they threw all their belongings into the ocean so to make the ship light so that they would not sink. Now, a prophet is someone who helps people discover what is best to do. They went to Jonah. Do you know where he was? He was asleep in the bottom of the boat. The captain found him and commanded him to call on his God to save them. All Jonah did was climb up onto the deck of the boat. Now the people were more afraid. They decided to cast lots to see whom God was angry with. They wanted to throw that person overboard to get rid of them. Now, a prophet is someone who can speak for the one true God. But Jonah still did not speak. The sailors asked him who he was. He told them he worshiped God, the one who created the seas and the dry land. Then the sailors realized that Jonah was trying to flee from God. So the sea grew even more troubled. So Jonah said, "Throw me in and the storm will stop." So they threw him in, and suddenly all was quiet. The sea was calm. Now, a prophet is someone who is close to God, and a false prophet is someone who is very far from God. When Jonah was thrown into the water, he was neither close to God nor far from God. He was sinking. He sank, and a great fish came suddenly and swooped him up and swallowed him. Jonah was in the belly of the whale for 3 days and for 3 nights. Jonah began to pray, and the fish began to feel very strange. It grew sicker and sicker. Finally, it swam to shore and vomited Jonah out onto the dry land. Now the word of the Lord came to Jonah a second time. "Arise and go to Nineveh, the great city, and tell the people there that they are bad and that they need to change and become good." This time Jonah went to Nineveh. He cried out to the people of Nineveh that they were bad and that God commanded them to be good. God said they would all be destroyed if they did not change and become good. Now, a prophet is someone who is overjoyed when people who are bad become good. The people of Nineveh listened to God's call, and they turned and they became good. All went about wearing sackcloth and ashes to show how sorry they were. Even the king and queen were sorry and became good. And all the creatures in the field were sorry too, and they became good. God did not destroy that great city. This made Jonah angry. He wanted God to destroy the city. These are not even the people of God. He went outside the city and climbed up a hill and sat out in the sun and sulked. He wanted to get his way. God said, "Why are you angry, Jonah?" God caused a plant to grow and provide shade for Jonah. Then one night, God sent a worm to the plant, and the worm destroyed it, and it shriveled up, and it died. So when the sun rose, a sultry east wind blew, and the sun beat down on Jonah, and Jonah became faint. He grew angry about the death of the plant. "Why are you angry about the plant, Jonah?" God said. Jonah said, "I am angry enough to die." He thought he still might get his way. God said to Jonah, "You pity the plant which you did not nourish, you did not water, you never took care of it. Should I not pity the great city of Nineveh and the 120,000 people that live there and all of their cattle?" I wonder what part of the story you like best. I wonder what part of the story is the most important part. I wonder where you are in the story, or what part of the story is about you. I wonder if there's any part of this story that we can leave out and still have all the story we need. I wonder how you would finish the story. I'm going to light our Christ candle to help us remember that God is with us whenever we read His Word and hear His stories. Now today's story is in the Old Testament. This is the Old Testament. And Jonah is a prophet. And these are the books of the prophets. Jonah, right here, is a minor prophet. That doesn't mean that he's any less important than a major prophet. It just means that his story is shorter. So listen to part of the story of Jonah. One day the Lord told Jonah, the son of Amittai, to go to the great city of Nineveh and say to the people, "The Lord has seen your terrible sins. You are doomed." Instead, Jonah ran from the Lord. He went to the seaport of Joppa and bought a ticket on a ship that was going to Spain. Then he got on the ship and he sailed away to escape. So you might want to read this story in your Bible at home. It's not very long. I'm going to change the light that's here in one place with us so that it can fill this room and always be here with us, here in this room and with you there at home. So let's sing our goodbye song. Go now in peace, go